I'm Patrick Ottman, CNN's Havana bureau chief and correspondent. And in the 5 years that I've been living here, Cuba has never been an easy place to get to. That is changing, though. In 2016, Cuba and the United States reestablished direct flights for the first time since the Cuban Revolution. And there are people now pouring into this island. In fact, Cuba's not entirely ready for the increase in demand. And so some of the tips that I give people when they come here, expect delays. Particularly at the airport, when you get here, if you can arrive with just a carry-on, not checked luggage, that'll be a big help. You a lot of times wait more time for your bag than it took to get here on the flight.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to welcome you to Havana, Cuba.
Another issue is transportation. There are not regular bus services or trains in from the airport to the city. So this is the way that people actually get around. They are pretty inexpensive. It only costs about $20, $30 to get in from the airport to the city. They don't have meters though, so you need to negotiate ahead of time with the driver. We're gonna get in though and take a little ride and go into Havana. So when it comes to how you pay for things in Cuba, it gets a little complicated. Most U.S. credit cards still do not work in Cuba. And even if you have a non-U.S. credit card, you should check with the company to make sure it's accepted here. A lot of them are not. So regardless, you're going to be using a lot of cash during your stay. And that's something else to be aware of. Cuba is the only country in the world that prints up. I always tell people that if they can, try to bring euros to exchange, bring extra cash because you don't want to run out here. Euros, though, get a better exchange rate than the U.S. dollar. So you get a little bit more for your money. As we're rolling to the city, there's very little traffic. It only takes us about a half an hour to get to Old Havana, which is where we're heading. There's just so few cars on the road that things here tend to move pretty quickly, at least in terms of getting around. Life has its own pace here, and that's not necessarily a bad thing because it gives a visitor a little bit more time to have that extra cup of coffee, mojito, or even to try out a Cuban cigar and enjoy the atmosphere and history of a city like no other.